Hey guys, it's Patience, and today, by the end of this video, we will have read The Kill Order. Okay, so the prologue, that was actually kind of cute. Like, I don't usually ship Teresa and Thomas, but like, that was like a genuinely good moment there. So the first thing I noticed is that this does not have the characters from the original series, which I'm honestly kind of okay with. After the emotional trauma that was the Death Cure, I am very ready to have some new, we'll take a break from that. Let's talk about Trina and Mark. I do not ship it. I think it's a little weird how that came to be. Like, he basically like thinks like, oh, she's pretty, like, I like that she has a pretty face, and she basically only likes him because he's the only person in the world, and Mark is like, okay, I'll take that, and this makes me uncomfortable. I feel like everything surrounding the flares is still kind of vague, but we'll probably see more of that as we get into the book. So the Bergs are shooting darts at people. Is that the flare? Is that how they released the flare? Because I would have seen that coming. I mean, like, they're in their hazmat suits, right? So, like, I thought they would have shown, like, an aerosol kind of gas, but I guess darts make sense, too. Look at that, it's snowing outside. I didn't even realize. I was just like, whoa, look at that. Look at all that snow. It's like a Christmas snow. Okay, so I was right. It is the flare. They're shooting darts with the flare in it to people. That's so messed up. I keep, like, don't you think the hunger would take care of itself? Just let some... If you're really gonna kill people, just let them starve. That sounds like horrible to say, but like, you don't need to use your fancy virus thing. Because like, obviously they're not worried about using the humane option here, because the flare is like the worst way you could die. So it's not like they have any qualms about like, oh, we might as well like kill them in like a safe, quick way, right? No, they're not. I'm really not a fan of how the book's been written so far. Like, they do this thing that really bothers me in young adult, but they like do it all the time here, when they like say like a sentence and then a half a sentence. So, like, she looked out the window. Piles of snow. It's like, sentences don't work that way, guys. And I'm okay with it for, like, a couple times, for, like, a stylistic choice. But, like, in this book, it's, like, all the time. Ugh. They've done pretty well so far, building intrigue. But the characters, the dialogue. In case we needed more examples why Trina and Mark are not good together, and why I dislike Mark, here we go, hold on. So he's basically he's having a flashback to, like, when they're riding home on the subtrans, which I assume is like some sort of subway. Yeah, he's like, they've been friends for a long time by circumstance more than anything. But how could he have known she'd have turned to this beautiful thing with the hot body and dazzling eyes? Come on. Come on. Really? No. It's like, you know? It's not like he's being nice or like he has like a genuine crush on her or like actually like believe it. He's just like, oh, she's attractive. Well, heaven forbid I don't like her. It's like, no, ew. It's like, it's not like he's even, like, building a relationship with her or they have something. It's like, he just thinks she's hot and that's it. And, like, he even kind of looks down on her for it in, like, a way. I don't know. I really don't ship it. I really don't like this. He's not nice. The way he talks to Trina, the way he treats Trina is not nice, per se. It's more like as a means to an end. And he's not particularly strong either. Like, even when he talks to Alec, he's not nice. He's just kind of there. These aren't the kind of people you want to read about. You gotta like the main character, and I just don't. Okay, so I guess there's regular Flare, and then there's, like, mutant Flare. And they're going to be traveling to Wicked headquarters, which should be interesting. But, like, they come back, and Darnell has the more advanced Flare, right? And so everyone's like, oh, wow, that's weird. Here, listen to what Mark says. Mark says he was ashamed of himself, but all Mark felt in that quiet moment was relief that the ordeal had finally ended and that it hadn't been Trina. Good grief, Mark. It's like, this dude has no humanity. But I think I've realized what really strikes me about Mark is it's not just what he thinks. It's not just what his first instinct is to think. It's not just that he, like, thinks these things. It's that he thinks these things and then doesn't correct them. Someone once told me, the world was gonna roll me, no. Someone once told me that what you think first is what you've been conditioned to think, and what you think second is who you actually are. And I think that's a very good way for protagonists, too. He can think these things. I would be okay if he thought these things, but then if he corrected himself to think, no, there are more important things here, that would be okay. That would show some strength that he actually cares. But instead of doing that, what we see more too often from Mark is that he thinks these things and then he says, I felt guilty for thinking these things. But he felt guilty. What did he do about that? Did he correct the thought? Did he attempt to make it better? Did he attempt to say, no, this is what's happening and this is what's real? No, he just thinks, oh, I thought this, can't help it, I'm guilty, This is editing patience, but I just wanted to chip in here while we're having this whole discussion. It is okay for your main character to feel things that are less than desirable. Yes, I do have music in the background. I'm sorry if you can hear that. I hope this doesn't get copyrighted because of it. But Thomas was a huge coward in the books. Like, he would think things like, oh man, I really do not want to do this, or like, what if it would be easier if I just did this? But the thing about Thomas, the thing that made us like him so much, was he did it anyway. He did it anyway. He didn't be like, oh, I'm scared. Oh, time to dip. Goodbye. No, it was like he was scared and then he went against his natural instincts to do the right thing. And I think that's something huge for likable protagonists. Like, think of any likable protagonist. Katniss Everdeen. It's not in her nature to be, like, nice and caring, but, like, when she took care of the cat, when she takes care of Peeta, those are the moments we see her shine. When she fights against her nature to do the right thing. And that's something I did not see from Mark. I saw it in Thomas, which is part of the reason why I like Thomas so much. But despite Mark's fatal flaw, he did nothing to correct it. He just said it as it was, and that is a huge problem for me. I just realized I've not been saying the page numbers. I'm sorry about that. This one will just have to not have page numbers. This is page 75, okay? So they're walking through the subway, and they go into the little room, and the people are like, oh, we're gonna threaten you with these blades. And, like, at least he's standing up for himself now. At least he's, like, trying to protect Tyrina. You're getting there, Mark. Just keep going, keep doing what you're doing, get better, and let's see more of this. Good. Page 80, and we're seeing more humanity from Mark. We see that he likes to tell his sister stories about the constellations, and we see that he misses her, which is good. This is bringing likability back to Mark. Shoot, 81. The toad, he's got the flair. Page 93, and they encounter a girl named Dee Dee. And isn't that Teresa's name was something like that when she got her memory back in the Death Cure, right? It might not have been Dee Dee. It was something like that. Okay, it's editing patience again. You know what this whole book feels like? This is what it feels like. Here, hold up. Hey, Mr. Dashna, can we get Thomas? Oh no, dear fandom, we have Thomas at home. Back to the ship. Take it away, reading patience. Okay, so they rescued Dee Dee, and now they're moving along. But the thing is, it wasn't Mark's decision to rescue Dee Dee. He just kind of sat there while Alec was like, I'm not heartless, let's take her along. And Trina was like, oh, please, can we take her? Mark just kind of sat there. And that's the thing that gets me about his character. He has no agency. Thomas was not necessarily the most, like, get him kind of guy, but at least he impacted the plot. He had a say-so in what was going on. He could have chosen to go to Wicked or not. He was making decisions. He was advancing the plot. Mark kind of feels like a sack of potatoes. It's like that old analogy, right? Like, if you can replace your love interest with a wooden board. Except for this time, it's not the love interest, it's the protagonist, and his name is Mark. Okay, the cult scene. This is some creepy stuff. I mean, clearly Jedediah is a crank, obviously, because he's missing his, well, yeah, and he's like, the pain, they've killed me, the demons. Yeah, the whole bonfire thing is extremely creepy. I think one thing that the book did that the movie failed to do was make cranks psychologically creepy. In the movie, they were kind of like zombies, like you saw them and you were like, ugh, or like, oh, that's kind of creepy for what they could do to the main characters. But in the books, like, how they lose their mental function and how they, like, chant stuff like Jedediah's, like, the pain, the crawling in my head, or like how Rose got my nose, all that kind of stuff. That makes them so much creepier than just, look, zombies. If you're liking this video so far, please like, share, and subscribe. If you leave a comment, I will do my best to get back to you. Thank you. They met Anton, who basically confirmed what we already knew from the other books. They released the flare to help with overpopulation. They mentioned that the solar flares released radiation earlier in the book. So no one would be living past, like, 40. So overpopulation isn't really a problem they'd have to deal with the tsunamis, the flares. They wouldn't have to worry about that. There aren't any planes, so anything would be contained in, like, one area. I don't know. How did the flare spread to the other countries? Did they, like, explicitly go to those? Oh, guys, do I have news for you? Page 177, and Mark finally did something. He saved the kid and the Lek. He actually went in, and he reached out his arm, and he saved them. Which, I'm just so glad Mark finally did something. Okay, so Mark and Alec found this auditorium, and they're basically, like, spying on these people, right? And they basically said that they sold Dee Dee, Trina, and Lana to the cult. Which, okay, that's not fun, but, you know, you gotta do what you gotta do. And they're going to march on Asheville because basically they're all infected, and the PFC is like, oh well, who cares, too bad. Which, I mean, that's a pretty fair plan. They've got nothing left to lose, right? Anyway, okay, so then he turns and he goes, but first, my friends, I need you to do something for me. This is the guy who's talking. He says, we have 2 spies in the back of this auditorium. So, no, okay, so they found Alec and Mark. Ooh, okay, we're running now. And then there's a fight scene. And they just got away, I guess. I don't think that's how it works. Oh shoot, okay, page 207, and Mark realizes he's going crazy after he, like, accidentally tortures a guy. Oh man. This is so cool. Okay, I do not like Mark's character. I think this book could have been done better, yes. But the way James Dashner portrays the Flare, priceless. Perfect. Perfection. 264, and they killed Lana, and that was dark. That was a dark scene. 271, and Trina doesn't remember Mark. She just looks up at him and is like, who are you? So, it's hard to end this right, because you know they all end up being cranks in the end. There's no good way this can end. So that's kind of hard. Page 296, so Mark saw on the work pad all of, like, the correspondence of how they were like, oh, well, we have overpopulation. If anyone has any ideas, let me know. And the one person was like, oh, well, we think the bacteria viruses survived. And he was like, oh, yeah, great, let's use that. So that was really creepy. The way James Dashner did it was, like, really cool, too. It was, like, they were done, like, a series of, like, emails and memos, so you didn't have any of Mark's thought. It was just, like, 1, 2, 3, 4. Page 298. Okay, so there was this really cute scene with Mark and Trina that was actually, I won't spoil it for you, but it was pretty nice. It wasn't, like, particularly anything, really. They were just kind of hanging out, but, like, it was a good scene, I will say. I don't hate Mark as much as I did at the beginning of the book. I'm still not his biggest fan, but, like, you know what? We can deal with this. We can deal with where this is now. So the ending of that book, it felt very rushed. It was like, whoa, 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 whoa. They got into Asheville. They saw the flat trans. Mark wrote a note that said, use her. She can help you. She's immune. And she stuck it in Dee Dee's pocket and pushed her through the flat trans. And then Alec crashed the Berg into them, and they all died. And then there was the epilogue with Thomas's mom. The mood of this book was very, like, apathetic and somber, I felt, which was, like, somewhat fitting, but also somewhat, like, It could be better, yes, but it could have been a lot worse. And I feel like James Dashner did the best with what he had, and it was good. So would I recommend this book? If you liked the Maze Runner books, definitely. If you did not like the Maze Runner books, no. If you hadn't read the Maze Runner books, that's also gonna be a no for me. I would only recommend this if you liked the Maze Runner books and you're interested in learning a little bit more about the history. I wanted to give this a glowing review, I really did, but the facts of the matter are it doesn't deserve a review that's like, everyone, even people who don't like the Maze Runner books, go get this book. No. It is a good book by itself. It's an okay book. It's not a bad book. It's not terrible. But it is not anywhere near the level of recommendation where I'd be giving it the same glowing reviews as I did the other Maze Runner books. Just because of the main character, he had no agency. He did not work at all. There was no change throughout the whole book. He just basically stayed the same. The world building was great. The flair was done really well, as usual. But you can get that from the other Maze Runner books. If you want to support James Dashner, I would totally recommend buying any one of the other Maze Runner books. Please like and share this video, and subscribe if you get the chance. If you leave a comment, I'll do my best to get back to you. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Bye!